everyone. And as Eric Trump said, we are thrilled to have won Pennsylvania with 87% of the vote in, and we're up almost 400,000 votes. So we're thrilled. And you ask, well, why do we care about the rest of the votes? Because it is about the integrity of this election. And every vote, as Mayor Giuliani said, in every state must be counted fairly. What we have seen, and we have a video of it that we will release to you, they put up, it looks like a police barricade all the way around the perimeter, and they are keeping our poll watchers back approximately 30 feet, at least 30 feet. You can judge for yourselves. They would not let them look any further. There is a gentleman there by the name of Seth Bluestein, who is an assistant to a city commissioner, and he is wearing a badge the size of a baseball. And as far as I know, he's not a sworn law enforcement officer. So it looks like intimidation to me, with a police barricade and a man wearing a huge badge around his neck. He told them they can't come any closer. He said the reason was because of they can't interfere with the process, and then something about COVID. Well, we all know at the polls, you have to stay 6 feet apart. Our poll watchers have no problem with staying 6 feet away, yet they weren't allowed to do this. So we're going to release that video to you because then they also had binoculars. Our poll watchers brought out a pair of binoculars. They were shut down on the binoculars, but then they were told, well, okay, you can use the binoculars. So that's a concession that we are allowed to observe the ballots. Yet, clearly, when you see how big the room is, you cannot see every ballot. You can only see with the binoculars the ones that are closest to you. So that's a concession by them, and they're still not letting us see this. So we need to fix this. We need to remedy this now because we've won Pennsylvania, and we want every vote to be counted in a fair way.
You are listening to Ada Jet Noise, and this is the Morning Flyby. More 2020 madness. You just want to... The natural reaction is to be like, well, I can't wait till this year's over. 2021 is not going to be any better. You know, they're already gibbering and jabbering about masks until 2022. London just went into lockdown. There's other European areas that are locking themselves down again. The numbers are going down. The percentages of mortality seem to be slowing down. Right? Aren't we like saving lives? Isn't that what we're kind of trying to do now? We're saving more lives. The people that should have gotten it are getting it. You know, diluting it, if you will. I think we're going to be okay with the whole COVID thing, but I'm sitting here watching some ballot counting, and some frustrating stuff. Just watched a gentleman securing ballots that he liked and balling up ballots that he didn't like. Doesn't look good. Also, I just saw, and I just posted a video on Ada Jet Noise, by the way. Ada Jet Noise on Facebook. Look for me there. Like me, follow me. I appreciate it. Just posted a video of a gentleman with a little red wagon taking some ballot boxes out of his minivan, and taking him into the polling place. Like, in the middle of the night, which explains the at first I heard it was 110,000, but now I'm hearing it's 130,000 ballots that showed up in Michigan in the middle of the night. Just magically showed up in Michigan in the middle of the night. And the irony is that all 130,000 ballots were for Joe Biden. A lot of shade going on. This is well planned. Well planned, absolutely. No, this not our election. That got turned into a debacle. But the debacle part is the well planned part. The Integrity Transition Project. Check that out. I posted that. It's a PDF. It's a little long read. It's kind of a long read, but watch the it's a step-by-step explanation, a little SOP, if you will, of how to get Trump out of the White House and get the Democrats back in rule. This was put together in June 2020. Again, the Integrity Transition Project. If you don't want to go to A to Jet Noise and see that, you can just punch in Integrity Transition Project, and you will see the incredibly scary plan of how to get the president out of the White House. And technically, they don't even really have to win the White House. But right now, we're in phase one. It is frustrate the voter. Frustrate the voter by making a highly contentious election. And that's what they're doing. I would love to be shot down as a conspiracy theorist, but it's all there in a PDF. It's planned out. It was, again, back in June where this thing was put together. And if you read the first step, we're in that first step. And it's, a bunch of legal beagles and insiders and beltways, and it's bipartisan. And like that, why don't they just work together? Thanks to the Lincoln Project, you got yourself some shady Republicans throwing their shade into the people's choice. So we'll see. There's back and forth with the Georgia. Trump has a slight lead, so they're still counting there. It doesn't look favorable for Trump in Georgia because seems like the last votes that are coming in are from Atlanta, and Atlanta's probably not going to be too Trump friendly, but we'll see, because there's been some incredible moves. We'll get into that. Let's first let me first go over this first little ditty we have here. Michigan law bans votes past 8 p.m. on election day. This is going back to Michigan, and they are just awful right now. A Michigan USPS insider testified that a shady postmark scheme to hand stamp November 3rd on late ballots was in play. Yeah, so they could have gotten those ballots on November 3rd, and the postmark. It was they late ballots that probably don't really exist. They're probably not even real ballots, but they were hand stamped for November 3rd. So they got in on time, in other words. Or at least they look like they got in on time. Again, the video I'm able to show on A to Jet Noise, where I found and was posted on A to Jet Noise. You can see that the ballots are coming in way late, in the middle of the night. Magic ballots out of nowhere. Again, this guy from the USPS was told to postmark, hand stamp these ballots for November 3rd. He called it he called on other postal workers to report anything shady. The USPS insider reported to Project Veritas that late ballots were sorted to special bin, then collected in express mail bags to be hand stamped. So collected in special bins, so they were handled like babies. These ballots were. James O'Keefe of Project Veritas said, like other insiders, this man is witnessing a wrong so heinous, so toxic to our voter-based democracy. He found himself with the choiceless choice. O'Keefe has now claimed that an organization did reach out. I should say the Inspector General. Contacted by the Inspector General of the USPS, and they are now considering launching an investigation. So the Inspector General doing what he should be doing. There is James O'Keefe. I was watching the video of him speaking to the whistleblower in it, and then he had at the end of the video, he makes a phone call to the gentleman that told the whistleblower and others to do the old hand stamp thing with the not so true date on there. And the guy just hung up. O'Keefe said, it's my understanding that you were, you'll see the video as well on A to Jet Noise on Facebook. He was saying that there was that it was his understanding that he told other people to hand stamp the wrong date on the ballots, and then boop, just hung up. So nothing but pure shade, nothing but pure just filth coming out of Michigan right now. We are not getting the election we were promised. The election I expected, but not the election we were promised. Maricopa County in Arizona released the vote tallies for 75,000 ballots Wednesday evening, and the numbers show positive gains for President Trump. So where he is kind of losing ground in Georgia, he's gaining in Arizona. And President Trump in the States, some outlets have already declared Joe Biden the winner, which was they barely started counting. And like I know Fox did. Yeah, again, they'd announced like a vote. The first balloting, well, Biden won the state. It was pretty disgusting. At least CNN was trying very hard to be very honest with their mapping and their calling. And again, you may not like the way they reacted to it, which is a whole different thing. They don't want Trump to win. CNN hates Trump. And that's neither here nor there. That's nothing new. But Fox, on the other hand, what a bunch of dunces. Just absolutely awful. I don't know if they were trying to be the smartest kids in the room, trying to come off like, hey, we know this, we see this. But they really made themselves look ridiculous. Yeah, much like the pollsters this entire campaign season. The pollsters were just absolutely awful. And get to that in a little bit. Let's see, President Trump netted 13,644 votes Out of the data released at around 9 p.m., meaning Biden's lead was cut from 92,817 votes down to 79,173 votes. A lot of votes to count in Arizona, so got a long way to go. According to the Forensic News, Scott Stedman, apparently with the Forensic News, there are an estimated 420,000 votes left to count in Maricopa, where the president is expected to do well. That is good news for Trump, whose campaign is argued. Numbers show the president could still win that state. The polling industry is looking pretty ding-dang useless, and they are, as numbers rolled during the tight race between Trump and Biden on Tuesday. Pollster Frank Luntz, I actually like Frank Luntz, but he really came off as useless. I'm not gonna say it's bad or he was shady or anything like that. He just came off really useless because in this case, this is a unique election. A lot of people that were going to vote for Trump were not allowed to vote for Trump. And I said that sounds ridiculous. They're not allowed to say they vote for Trump. You can't say it to family because family will get mad at you. How many cases did we hear about family members saying, "Oh, well, I'm not bringing the grandkids over," or "You're not my mother anymore"? And it's if this is the first you're hearing it, it's shocking, but it was an endless list of people. I've got friends who lost friends because they supported Trump. People angry at me for supporting Trump, particularly in this election. It has been feelings. Feelings. Feelings have been the driving force for the anti-Trump crowd. They do not care what you think. They do not care of any accomplishments. They don't want to hear about any accomplishments. Anything good that came from this guy, they don't want him to have credit for anything. They don't want think about it. How many years have the Democrats promised prison reform? This guy goes out of his way. I'll take it back. I take that back. This guy came in planning with prison reform. So he didn't go out of his way. It was just something that he felt needed to be done. And we get it. Prison reform becomes an actual thing. There's the first, the Second Chance Act, the First Step Act, working on the second step, the Platinum Plan. And now that's specifically, in that case, it's specifically in the black community. But that's where prison reform, there's where the argument comes from in the first place, is the odd, very biased numbers of the black young men in prison, incarcerated. Something there is something there that looks incredibly shady, right? Prison reform is something that needed to be done. So here comes this guy who just calls himself a Republican because he can't call himself a Democrat. He just calls himself a Republican, and we all know that Trump is either the new Republican Party or he is neither, because he's certainly not a Democrat. Maybe, just maybe, because to this day I say John F. Kennedy right now would be drummed out of the country for calling himself a Democrat, because today's Democrat is garbage. There's proof of that. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But in this case, Donald Trump, the things that he's done, the Trump haters are never going to give him credit for. So I'll carry on with this. National polls leading up to the election day showed Biden held a commanding advantage over Trump. But the two candidates, this is what the pollsters came up with. The two candidates were neck and neck out of the gate and remained in a heated battle. So close Wednesday, the lawsuits were already filed. The Hill pointed out that beyond the presidential election, many pollsters were projecting the Democrats would gain House seats in the Senate and the Senate, majority. So the pollsters were actually saying that the Democrats were going to do better. They were going to get bigger numbers in the House and get the majority in the Senate. Again, this goes back to today's Democrat. They lost more seats in the House, and they gained no ground on the Senate. Maybe a seat. They said that the Senate is back with the Republicans by a narrow margin. It's been in a narrow margin. The only people that the only people that are polling worse than the Democrats is the news media, the mainstream news media right now. And the Democrats are polling really bad. They are not liked. They are not liked. So what I see from good, hardworking, family-loving Democrat voters, there's no possible way that you can connect with today's Democrat. You either have the Nancy Pelosi's or the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, as Trump puts them, AOC +3. You have those. And where do you connect? You have, well, first of all, both of them are snotty elitist. But you have the old guard, the Alexandria, no, I'm kidding, the Nancy Pelosi's. You have the old guard, and Nancy Pelosi she doesn't get it. Back to the hair appointment with no mask, the chocolate, the two $2,400 refrigerators full of chocolate ice cream and chocolates in her incredibly expensive kitchen. Come down come down to Chinatown thing and have a good time during the first steps of trying to battle the COVID-19 pandemic. She was still telling people to come on down. Don't be afraid. Don't listen to that guy. She doesn't connect. Taking a knee, wearing the African garb. Who are you, Nancy? And then you got Alexandria Cortez, who is coming in with the Green New Deal. They're shooting for solar panels, no cow farts, electric cars. We're going to gut buildings of their current plumbing and put in new, environmentally friendly plumbing. This is the new kind of Democrat that we're talking about. Over 60% taxes, right? This is what we're talking about. Taking away our fossil fuels. We're right now energy independent. That's another thing. This one's funny. How many people argued about us going to war for oil over and over again? I know I heard it from my friends. We're at war for oil. We're at war for oil. The president comes in. He starts pulling troops out of areas where we certainly don't need to be. Indeed. He pushes the energy industry here in the United States and gives them what they need to give us what we need. We are energy independent. We are energy independent right now. And that seems to be a problem with the same people that were fussing about war for oil, war for oil. We're standing on our own 2 feet. I don't see anyone complaining about the gasoline prices. And that's just gasoline. We're just talking about gasoline in that case. I don't see anyone complaining about gasoline prices right now. Now, I could go, oh, when I was started driving, it was 69 cents per gallon. And it was 69 cents. That's the number I remember. I could say that. But right now, if I'm paying $1.89 a gallon, that's far better than the last, what was it, 16 years? At least 16 years. So here we are, energy independent, and that's not good enough. That's not even good enough. So where are we? War for oil or solar panel cars? Because I know I like getting in my car and being able to start it and go, as opposed to, oh, the sun's not out, I guess I'll stay home. Yeah, that's it. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, Democrats doing bad. Pollsters are feeling bad because they stunk. They blew it this time. We got nothing out of the pollsters. We didn't get anything out of the pollsters in 2016. Trump should have lost in 2016, according to the pollsters. Boom. President Trump. Trump should have lost in 2020. And by a wide margin, because that's what the pollster said. You all hate Trump. You all hate Trump. And indeed, what we're finding out is not only did people come out to vote for that man, but we're also finding out that some of the people that voted against him, or I should say some of the votes against him, not people that voted, some of the votes against him are actually manufactured. We'll find out more. This next one goes back to what the pollsters and Democrats were missing. And this one is, there's a little disturbing undertone about this one. President Donald Trump won 45% of the Latino vote in Florida, which is largely responsible for him winning the state in election day, according to the Wall Street Journal. In all, Trump won Florida. In all, Trump won Florida by only 3 percentage points, a mark higher than his 1.2 percentage point margin in the last presidential election. All right. 2016, Trump won an impressive 35% of the vote. Okay. The disturbing undertone is not so much, it's so much. It's not that he is doing so well with the Latino community, and quite frankly, doing really well with the black community, far more than anyone's willing to admit. Candace Owens said last year that she thought 30% of the black vote was going to swing to Trump. She wasn't far. She wasn't far off. 15% would have been earth-shattering. Where we're sitting now, with close to 30%, is beyond. It's otherworldly at this point. But back to the Latino vote. That those votes there are in Florida. In Texas, there's a county. Oh, I wish Zapata. Zapata. I'm gonna have to get back to you. And put maybe I'll post those numbers on A to Jet Noise. The in when Obama won, Obama in that county, that particular county in Texas, it's near the Rio Grande. Obama pulled 45% of the vote in that county. This is a 90% Latino county, so likely not many Cubans. So we're talking about um, Mexicans cross the border type Mexicans. Um, so this is 90% Latino county. Obama pulled 45%. In 2016, Clinton pulled 33% in that county. Trump reversed it so far that he pulled 6%. So this is a place where Republicans were not going to win ever. Trump arguably reversed their vote. Arguably like 28 points. So he wiped out Biden did nothing in that county, and we're talking 90% Latino population in that county, and Trump wiped out all of the Democrat vote, and brought another 6 points in his direction in the Republican direction. Again, I'm assuming this. I think it's easy to assume that it is a Trump Republican that did this. Trump is killing it with the Latino vote. They like what they see, and they like the accomplishments. This is not necessarily a surprise. Here's the disturbing undertone. What is happening, particularly with as Black Lives Matter started to shine, we can make the assumption that there is a weariness within the Latino community and the Black Lives Matter movement. There is a weariness there, and one of the issues that Black Lives Matter, one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter, brought up during the election is that defund the police. This helps to prove what I'm getting at. Defund the police hurt them very badly in Florida, because one of the key points that the Latinos brought to the polling place was, what are you talking about? Defund the police. That's ridiculous. All right. That and the Cuban people saw socialism, saw communism, and they can see it here. They can see it happening, building up here. So yeah, in Florida, they ran from that. Ran. You know, how many of them came on rafts? Remember the gentleman that took the old 1930s, 1940s truck and turned it into a boat and was like coming across the ocean with like a bunch of people towing like a small raft or something like that. They're doing like 45 miles per hour in the water. He turned the truck, the old kind of like Sanford and Son truck, and turned it into a boat. One of the greatest visuals I've ever seen. They really wanted to come to America. Now I remember they got stopped, and then they were sent back to Cuba. They sunk that great invention that he created, and but he made it. So he decided that he wasn't going to be able to get to Florida, so he just took another direction, like through like lower Texas or something like that. Or I think they even made it through Mexico and they crossed the border through Mexico. I digress. But these people are willing to do things like that to get here to the United States because of the communism, the socialism, the Marxist ideology. These people are willing to come here to get away from all of that. And then it starts to happen here, they are going to fight back. And they did at the polling place. Which could be the same thing happening in, again, I'm going to have to find this county, but I want to say it's Zapata County. Um, it's, again, lower Texas, near the Rio Grande. But these people, too, if indeed they came here, well, I'm sure most of them did, come here, crossing the border, they came here for a reason. They came here running away from, tyranny, or, they came here running to opportunity. Right? And they've been promised all this stuff by the Democrats, and here Trump comes in and just honest and does stuff. Doesn't promise, just tells you, hey, I'm doing this, and then he does it. You got yourself some Latin votes. But again, there's a weariness, and there is I'm seeing an unfortunate undercurrent that's happening within the black community, and I should say within the Hispanic community, about the black community. There's a weariness about them not being able, about the black community not looking like they can't stand on their own. There's a weariness. And take it seriously. You don't have to agree with me, but take what I'm saying seriously. There is a weariness. And what's happening, I saw a tweet the other day where the black community is starting to, or wanting to, bite back. They're saying that this election is one step closer for the Hispanics to be white. Be white. So there is an unfortunate undercurrent happening between the Hispanic community and the black community. It's not with everyone. Stop. But there is something happening. And it's a weariness. The more I find, the more I'll be glad to share with you to enlighten you on that. But Trump did well with the Hispanic community, and it's very understandable as to why. Milwaukee City Wire found 7 of the Milwaukee voting wards reported more voters than 2020 U.S. presidential election votes than they had registered voters. So more votes than registered voters. They had a maddening percentage number show up in Milwaukee to vote. Apparently, let's see. Vice President Joe Biden carried the 5 in 2020 with 3,000. Carried 5 with 3,000. These are voter wards. with 2020 through 2020, this particular election, 3,768 votes to President Donald Trump's 2,883 votes, a margin 880 of 885, or 8 times what it was in 2016. So what they're saying is that 84% of Milwaukee voters came in to vote, and this is how they broke it down. 327 of the voting wards, 90 reported a turnout of greater than 90%. 90% for out of Milwaukee. I don't know for this election, because your choice is either you're in it for Trump or you're out of it for Trump. And in Detroit, let's go to Detroit. Despite the shade, they didn't get a whole lot of percentage. The phenomenon is that people either voted for Trump or they didn't vote at all. So there was a lot of people that did not vote because they weren't going to vote Republican. It's just not going to happen. It's Detroit. They weren't going to vote Republican, but their choice is Joe Biden. So they were like, well, why am I showing up? At least I know I don't like Trump. So, it is what it is. There's that. But then you got yourself the people. What we're saying in here is that the voting in Milwaukee and I'm going to read this line. 5 of them are in the city's 11th aldermanic, ward, aldermanic ward on the far southwest side. Those areas in Milwaukee are poor, and they are predominantly black. And what you're telling me is that 90%, now I suppose barring some miracle and handing out some good food, 90% of the people are going to come in and vote. But what you're asking me is to believe that Joe Biden inspired more votes than Hillary Clinton, and Clinton did pretty well in 2016 out of it. You're just not going to get that. That's just not the way the things work. I understand that there's plenty of people that do not like Trump, but you're not going to pull 90% of votes in to vote against someone. It's not a real thing. So there is some questionable numbers in there. And God bless you if you did, if those areas decided we are going to band together, we're going to march to a polling place. God bless you if that miracle happened. But there's where Milwaukee's at. So we still don't know who necessarily was elected as president. The numbers in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona. I think Nevada's close though to coming up with a real answer. Hopefully, because they've been awful. Georgia, North Carolina, and quite frankly, Virginia, because Virginia is one of those states that got called. And again, back to Fox News, they called it, and the numbers weren't even in. So I'll keep you updated with what little I know, because I don't do a whole lot of polling research. Well, I don't do it now, but I'm getting into it. I don't chase a lot of history on elections, and I wish I did do that. I'm watching these people that actually do that, and they're fascinating to me. So I'll keep you updated. Please feel free to keep me updated. You know, I have friends that love sending stuff to me for either so that I can research, or they want some sort of verification or some sort of one way or the other kind of thing. So we'll handle that away. Again, A to Jet Noise. Let me get you on your way. One of the things that I'm kind of proud of with this A to Jet Noise thing is I'm kind of still doing it like a radio show, and I'd like to keep it that way because this way you don't have to look at me, you don't have to look at this, you don't have to do that. You can just turn me on and walk away, make your coffee, get dressed. Again, don't turn your phone camera towards me because while you're getting dressed, because that's just creepy. Um, the and you could just listen to me ramble on about what's going on in today's world. Um, this show it was a little frustrating. This particular show was a little frustrating to me because it was all about had something to do with with this election, and this election should have been we shouldn't be talking about it. It should have been done and over on the morning of November 4th, the early morning of November 4th. We should have known who was the president. But again, going back to the Integrity Transition Project, check it out. Integrity Transition Project. This has been in the works since June of this year. And right now we're in phase one, the contentious election. And part of phase one leads into phase two, and that's to get where we start to get frustrated as voters. And they know that we're going to demand an answer. We're going to demand an answer. And the longer they can drag this out, the better off they're going to be. So please pray for the president. Pray for this country. We need it. I'd like to ask you to visit my excuse me. I'd like to ask you to visit my website, or not website, but the Facebook, A to Jet Noise at Facebook, and get me some likes, give me some followers, subscribe to me on YouTube, and Parlor, and on Rumble, if you could. A to Jet Noise, 3 words, ADA Jet Noise, Facebook, Parlor, YouTube, and Rumble. Find me, like me, follow me, subscribe me, tell them that you love me. Until then, big hug, be good, be still, enjoy your life.